What's going on, everybody? My name is C4. Welcome back to the channel, and today we're here for a new Madden 25 realistic rebuild, and it's time just to rip that band-aid off and let's rebuild the Dallas Cowboys. Reason why we're doing Dallas right now, as someone that proudly would like to take claim that I'm the biggest Dallas Cowboy hater on YouTube. I think we got a good scenario right now to rebuild the Cowboys. One that made it interesting enough for me to be like, you know what? I think it's time. Let's get this one out of the way. You take a look at the Cowboys roster right now, and while their record's not bad to start the 2024 season, vibes are generally trending in the wrong direction. Dak Prescott has not looked amazing. There's been more viral clips of CeeDee Lamb and Dak on the sidelines than on the field. And I say that in not a great... I'm not roasting them because I own CeeDee Lamb in my big fantasy league this year. I did that because I was at an annoying draft spot, and it made watching all these stupid Dallas Cowboys primetime games maybe a little more tolerable. And of course, they're not connecting. That's awesome. But the word and the phrase of the Cowboys offseason was Jerry Jones going, we're going all in. Did you? Did you? I mean, I'll give you credit where credit's due. You got Guyton and BB in the draft. Both of them have dev traits. I know we like to roast the Dallas Cowboys ratings and stuff like that throughout the years, but I don't think it's necessarily a stretch that both these guys have dev traits. And for the sake of this rebuild, that's awesome. BB Smith and Guyton. I don't know if I'm going to keep Smith at left guard. We might put him back to tackle as he has that versatility, but I think we got 3 out of our 5 linemen locked in place for the remainder of the rebuild. Anytime you go in a rebuild where you don't have to spend premium draft resources on offensive linemen, always makes it a little more exciting. But all in, you brought back Zeke Elliott on the offensive side of the ball. You look at the defense, no more Dan Quinn. They still got playmakers, but that D-line, Tank Lawrence looks like he's closer to retirement than not. You got Marshawn Kneeland. That's a generous dev trait from the rookie class. But, again, there's still some upside there. Mozzie Smith. Can we develop these players? Don't look like they're going to be, Odighizuwa's probably been better than Mozzie Smith to start their careers. But it's an interesting defensive line. There's definitely a shot. How old's Odighizuwa? 26? So, we should, there's probably got to be a quicker rebuild. We know Dallas. We know Dallas in the sim. That's another reason why. You just rip the Band-Aid off. We do all 32 teams. Let's get it over with. Outside of the D-line, which, again, we're, and even, are we needing to find a replacement for Tank Lawrence? We could probably just put Micah Parsons down there on the D-line if need be. Linebacker core for Dallas ain't brutal. Leo Fowle, the rookie out of, I believe, Notre Dame. You got Kendricks, the veteran presence. Overshown. Every time I've watched them play, he's kind of stood out to me. We'll make Clark actually just go there from LSU as a starter, just because he has the dev trade upside. But they got linebackers. The corner room, unlike in real life, we're going to have, Deron Bland ready to play. Trevon Diggs, maybe the biggest boom or bust corner in the league. But when he's booming, baby, you're like the Costco guys. We're getting multiple picks. I think it's going to be very good here in this room. Safety room is probably the biggest area of concern on the team. Bell's solid, more of a run defender. Wilson's get up there in age a little bit. So I do think safety will be an area we need to spend a little TLC with on the offense. We're going to have to replace Zach Martin sooner than later. Definitely want to look at an upgrade at right tackle. Definitely want to look at wide receiver help. But ultimately, the reason why we're doing this is because I want to do a video with Ashton Jeanty. Ashton Jeanty is, I don't know, unless you're living under a rock, that looks like prime Barry Sanders for Boise State. And I'm not going to pat myself on the back, but I did tweet last year during his kind of emergence at Boise State. They're like, how's no one talking about this guy? This guy is insane. And most, draft nerds were well aware. It's not a hot take. It wasn't like he was a guy that was a late round pick that's now, tearing up the college football world. There was a legitimate argument that he was at worst, a top 5 running back for the draft coming into this season. I had him at number 1. It's kind of panned out that way. Dallas Cowboys have an owner that absolutely would still draft a running back in the first round. The Dallas Cowboys, out of every team in the NFL, could make an argument would benefit the most by bringing in a running back from the draft. So that is going to be our plan. A lot of times you go in this rebuilds, I don't know exactly the direction we're going to take at draft time. This one, no doubt. Ashton Jeanty is going to be a Dallas Cowboy. And I think we're going to win a bunch of Super Bowls. In a video, we're going to go at minimum 5, at maximum 10 years to try and win a Super Bowl with the Dallas Cowboys. Start year 1, 0-2. What the fuck? It's not a Dallas. I don't think I've ever seen Dallas not get 12 wins. So keep that in mind, whatever our record ends up being here at the end of year 1. 2 losses. Browns and Saints, too. Those are 2 I absolutely expected us to win. For the midway point of year number 1, thought we'd be a lot better. 3-3, we're 500. I don't think I've ever seen Dallas, especially like early on in a rebuild, be 500. But that is kind of what we're operating. We have a top 10 offense. Defense could definitely be better. Let's look at our contracts. This is where I think we're going to have some issues, obviously, with the contract handed to Dakota Rain Prescott. It's a lot of money at quarterback. So we get the 5th-year option we will pick up on Smith. Replaceable. I'd like to keep, 27's getting up there. Replaceable. Tank Lawrence. This is like one of those ones. I think we keep one of the veterans. I don't think we can keep everyone. The Digazua at D-tackle is also pretty nice. But we got to prioritize here. So we got Zach Martin. Let's offer him a 2-year deal, and hopefully, yes, he will retire a Dallas Cowboy. I think the next most important one would be Bell, because that's just a plug-and-play starter for the foreseeable future. 5 years. We'll bump that up just a little bit. 5-year, 35. Locked in. $24 million remaining. It's tough, man. I feel like Tank Lawrence, I don't even think we can afford him right now. We can't. I'm going to be honest. I'm leaning towards replacing him, because we put Micah Parsons down at defensive end, and we got depth at linebacker. So with that being said, Digizua, 3 years, $34 million. Get him locked in, and you know what? Maybe it'll be cool if like just DeMarcus Lawrence decides to retire, and then for as little as I possibly could care about a Dallas Cowboy storybook ending, it would be weird seeing him play for another team. It'd be like DeMarcus Ware all over again. We're 6-5 now, trying to play good football late, but it does need to be said we've had some players of the week, and when we do, it tends to be Dak. Week 12, Dak with a 4-touchdown performance, which was huge. Week 9, Dak threw for almost over 350 yards, 5 touchdowns, and Micah Parsons had a nuclear performance with 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, recovered both of them, and we also had a little bit earlier in the year, Week 4, Dak Prescott with a 4-touchdown performance. So I do think our player stats have been better than our record, but I also look at the end of the schedule here for the Dallas Cowboys, pretty confident that we are at least going to maintain pace with the Eagles and compete for the NFC East. And in a shocking development, we did not play great football down the stretch. We go 8-9, which is incredibly rare. We have the number 1 passing offense, top 5. The rushing is not great. The defense is not great. Now, I will say I'm slightly worried that even with a potential freak of nature at running back that we want to target in the draft, it might not be enough to correct but also it might be. I want to be optimistic there for a second. But very disappointing to go 8-9. Dallas is usually the best. And look at Dak. Dak's, going to be right in the conversation for MVP. Most passing yards in the league, 2nd in touchdowns with 47, because someone coded the Dallas Cowboys to be this good in the game. I don't know why, but it's a reality that we're living in the last couple Maddens, because someone who works and develops this game apparently thinks they should be as good as the Chiefs. 4,900 yards, 47 touchdowns for Dak. Absurd. Not crazy number. I mean, even though that's not brutal for how much we threw the football. Almost 1,000 yards and 13 touchdowns for Zeke. You got to imagine we bring in a Terminator in the backfield. Actually, it's not the Terminator. We bring in Michael Myers. You've seen the meme. You know. Into the backfield out of Boise State. Could be great. I mean, hey, you know what? We let Tank Lawrence walk. So you go, out goes a Boise State legend. In comes a Boise State legend. That's something to watch. CeeDee Lamb, I put him in the slot because, let's be honest, he's a slot wide receiver. 106 catches, 1,600 yards, and 20 touchdowns. Yep, that'll do. That'll work. Just under 5 yards. It would have been cool to see Jalen Tolbert get 1,000, but honestly, he's a normal dev, and 71 catches, 995, and 12. Probably should yield a dev trade increase. 900 yards from Cooks, 8 and 11 from Ferguson. He put up some crazy numbers, and, the running backs also eat, and Jeanty is the best receiving back in college football on top of everything. Even if he didn't have the absurd numbers and he just had a good year, he would be number 1 in terms of receiving backs if you were kind of looking for that style of runner in the draft. Overshown to the team with 124 tackles, 4 TFLs, 2.5 sacks. We got 12 TFLs, 18.5 sacks from Micah Parsons, 7.5 from Tank Lawrence. Did not get much, though, from Neeland, Smith, Odigizua, unfortunately. Interception numbers 4 from Bell. Drastically different. Deron Bland and Trevon Diggs. 1 interception between the two of them. They're missing Dan Quinn. Dak is runner-up for MVP behind Patrick Mahomes. CeeDee Lamb wins Offensive Player of the Year. Micah Parsons wins Defensive Player of the Year. We didn't make the playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. Dak is Quarterback of the Year. CeeDee Lamb, Wide Receiver of the Year. Zach Martin, Cooper Beebe, and Tyler Smith, 1, 2, and 3 for Lineman of the Year. And Micah Parsons is Linebacker of the Year. That might be the most awards we've ever had in a single Madden 25 rebuild. And we didn't make the playoffs. We didn't even go above 500 with our record. That is... What? Weird Super Bowl, too. Hey, the Chiefs didn't go. Anybody but the Chiefs, and well, no, usually we have a saying ABC for the Super Bowl. Anybody but the Chiefs or Cowboys. We'll retract that statement and saying and phrase just for this rebuild. Neither made it. Niners finally figure out how to not choke a Super Bowl. Congrats to them. And obviously for that, I mean recently, not all time. They got quite a few Super Bowls. Looking at our squad, Jalen Tolbert did not go up dev trade. I think that's a little harsh. Guyton and Beebe both had hidden devs. They are stars. Jake Ferguson goes from star up to a superstar. And Dak with first in yards, second in touchdown type season at 32, which is not always easy to go in the right direction. Dev trait ratings-wise at this point, this is where a lot of quarterbacks start facing regression. We got a whole lot of love this offseason for Dak. And here's a look at what our defense is going to look like post-Tank Lawrence. Marshawn Leland had hidden dev, and it's just a star, but we're going to have this as our front four. Overshown got a star dev, too, from a normal. Leo Fowl and Clark. Marquise Bell got a dev trait. We gave him a new contract extension. That's pretty good. And Trevon Diggs keeps his star. I thought with no interceptions, chance that we lose it. Really happy he ends up keeping it. Actually, I think Malik Hooker also went up dev trade. And just because it is the end of the line for 2 historic Cowboy players, Zeke Elliott, as we let him walk, finishes his career just under 10,000 yards, rushing with 84 touchdowns. And for Tank Lawrence, he finishes with 440 tackles, 97 TFLs, and 66 sacks. Honestly, I thought he had more than that. I'm not even looking at free agency. We got to pay Micah Parsons, so not even looking at it. Now, because we've already committed to the direction we want to go in this rebuild, there is a chance that we might have to do the unthinkable, and that is trade up for a running back. But look, it's going to play itself into our hands here. Assuming the board remains true, Jeanty should be on the board at 14. And he looks like a stud. Don't lie to me, board. If you don't lie to me, no one gets hurt. And with pick 14, the Dallas Cowboys select the most electrifying player in college football. This man is Michael Myers in the backfield, and then he gets the football, and he turns into Barry Sanders. He will be a player that I do think will be interesting to see how well he tests. I don't know if he's going to have, like, you know, S-tier athleticism. But he runs away from lesser competition on a consistent basis. And I'm here for it. I'm a card-carrying member and have been for 2 years now of the Ashton Jeanty Club. Number 6 in true value, getting him at 14. There we go. You know, that tracks. Again, I don't think he's going to be a guy that has 95 speed or anything crazy like that. But he's going to be an outstanding football player. And hopefully this scenario does not happen in real life, because that'd be annoying. I like having the only good running back in the division on the Eagles. All right, into the second round, I was thinking potentially wide receiver. And we actually... Maybe this is what, because it was a wide receiver replacing Malik Hooker's getting up there in age just a little bit. We got Trey Harris here at Ole Miss, one of the most productive wide receivers in the SEC. And you know what? The talent is there. It's good enough for me to jump on it. Because Tolbert did not go up dev trade. We let Brandon Cooks walk. And finding someone else maybe long-term that can contribute alongside CeeDee Lamb. Could be Trey Harris. 41st in true value, getting that 46. Oh, no, dev trade. Damn, I think the rating will be pretty good, obviously, from our scouting. We need a safety. I'm going to look at Billy Bowman. I think he can play free safety. Ball hawk from Oklahoma. Kind of going off the combine. Not so much the letter grades as they were pretty rough. But we're in blind pick territory now. And you're probably going to see the hit rate significantly drop because it's a custom class created by, I think it's SGR Rosters. I can't take advantage of it like I do with the Madden generated class. So in our draft class, we finished, decently strong. We got Xavier Scott out of Illinois, 73, hidden dev late in the secondary. So there's a little gem from this class. We got Taylor. We got Cornelius. I actually thought his rating was going to be a little bit higher. 69 normal for Bowman. 74 normal for Harris. But GT, the man of the rebuild, 78 with a hidden dev trait. 92 speed, 90 acceleration, 91 agility, 88 carry, 91 ball carrier vision, 76 catch. I mean, he could do it all, man. He could do it all. And he is going to be, hopefully, a difference maker that can take our rushing offense that was down in the dumps from year one. And let's be honest, we got to get back to the Zeke Elliott days. Dak Prescott doesn't need to throw for 5,000 yards. He can throw for 4,000. He doesn't need to throw for 47 touchdowns. He can throw for 37. And let's let the running back take some of the pressure off the offense. On my roster preview, and where the hell is Zach Martin? I looked at the first stage of retirements, wasn't there. Like, he honestly had to have retired in, like, the final window. I think there's, like, a couple weeks that players can retire. He was 1,000% there once I started the offseason at the beginning of free agency, because I literally double-checked and had to see where I had to improve my roster. So, it's like Travis Frederick, just a phantom retirement here for Zach Martin, who we gave a brand new contract to last year. Awesome. That's great to deal with. Well, can't really do anything about that, but what we can control is week 1 of the regular season here in year 2 of this rebuild against the Green Bay Packers at home. And as we always like to do with the marquee, realistic rebuild player, I like to unleash them in their NFL debut. And let's just see if Ashton Jeanty can run all over the Green Bay Packers. We're going to have to run to the left side of the line now because right side is very weak. Come on! That super linebacker shit out of here. There's no way. Oh, there we go. That's great blocking. That's great blocking at the top by Tolbert. Ooh! Close, man, to break it through that second level. There we go. Just another first down. And man, oh man, when we hit that play action to CD, it's going to hit like crack. Or we get Ferguson. Almost as good. Runs him over. CD doing the dirty work. And there we go. Great response by the Cowboys. There's also how you use Jeanty out of the backfield. Breaks tackle, gets the first down. About doing this whole situation is that we obviously want to feature Jeanty, and that's going to make the games go by quicker, so I don't have to play with the Dallas Cowboys that much, which is always a great thing. Feels gross going, yeah! Ferguson touchdown. Yeah, great throw. That feels disgusting. First to go on the 4, and Jeanty is in for his first career touchdown. He's about 90 yards here late in the second quarter. Got him. Oh, we can do it. Oh, Jeanty through the air on the board. No, rookie. He recovered his own fumble. So I'm not going to roast him too hard. All right, Green Bay just scored, so we really want to try to put this game away. I might hit 200 before the day's over. With the ball on the 1 yard line, Jeanty gets in to complete the hat trick. It is NFL debut, and the Dallas Cowboys start the season 1-0. Debut, 29 totes, 191 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground. Also led the team with 4 catches, 37 yards, and a touchdown. A likely Offensive Player of the Week performance. Wow, we actually didn't give it. They gave it to Geno Smith? That's disrespectful. And this is absolutely, we're coming out of our bye. How are we this bad? Dallas is never this bad. Now, out of the blue, they're just, I can't win a game. I can't go on runs. Can't get hot. Can't make the playoffs. 2-3 below 500. We lost to the Raiders. This doesn't happen. I play that. This is my job. This doesn't happen. I guess until you control the Cowboys. Brutal. Let's look at our contracts. The reason why we didn't spend any money in free agency is because you have to pay this man. And you pay this man pretty much whatever he wants because he's one of the best defensive players. So we got him on a 5-year. I don't even want to look at it. Outside of that, we got $36 million remaining. Do we really want to pay a kicker? But in this scenario, well, because he's real good. You got Tolbert, replaceable. Clark, again, that's a little expensive. You got to wonder if he's getting kind of grouped into that edge rusher category. It would be cool to keep both Bland. I don't think it'll take a whole lot more. Ferguson had a hell of a year. We'll get Ferguson. We'll come back to the table for Bland. We're playing with fire with how much money we're throwing around to keep our players here. We're gonna at some point pay the piper. I'm kind of hoping, honestly, in this rebuild. Now I don't know what the record. I always thought, oh no, this is gonna be a 5-year. We're gonna win a couple Super Bowls within the 5 years because that's what Dallas does. And we're not gonna really have to worry too much about the end game salary cap situation, which is probably not gonna be great. But with the way that we're playing right now, I mean, hell, this could be another year that we don't go above 500, which has never happened in the history of Madden 25 Sims. Dallas back-to-back years below 500. All right, now we're on a 3-game win streak. We're putting 40 bombs up. We're getting player of the week performances out of Dak Prescott. All's kind of settling down now to what we usually experience in a Madden 25 franchise mode. And that's more about what I expected. We are now the number 1 offense, top 5 defense, number 1 passing yards defense, number 2 rushing. We go 12-5. We win the NFC East, and we're also the 1 seed in the NFC. I mean, just look at the big board for stats. I'm blocking it, but CeeDee Lamb is in the top 3 for receivers. Jeanty is top 3 for running backs, and Dak is sitting atop the quarterbacks, even though Mahomes probably is going to win MVP because he has 54 freaking touchdowns. But Dak is first in yards, top 5 in TUDs. Interceptions are down. I mean, again, this is where the Cowboys are at in Madden franchise mode. And, we're rebuilding them, so that's a good thing. At least for today's video. 1,300 yards, 16 touchdowns for Jeanty. Dak had 7 rushing touchdowns. Oh, my God. This is absurd. CeeDee Lamb, 1,500 yards, 18 touchdowns. The rookie Trey Harris out of Ole Miss rolled a normal dev. Might get a little bit of love here. 80 catches, almost 1,100 yards, 9 touchdowns, 9-8 for Tolbert, almost 9-6 for Ferguson. Definitely thought we'd use Jeanty a little bit more out of the backfield as Zeke had better production last year, but maybe there'll be an element of this game that continues to develop. Overshown, over 100 tackles, has 5 interceptions. Goddamn, 16.5 sacks from Micah Parsons, 9.5 from Nealon, 6 from Odigizua on 11 TFLs. So, I mean, really happy with all these numbers. Maybe, again, interceptions could be a little higher, but again, we don't necessarily know. Now that Dan Quinn's no longer there in Dallas, if those interception numbers that we've seen in real life will happen this year. Dak Prescott, once again, runner-up for the MVP. CeeDee Lamb gets Offensive Player of the Year with Dak Prescott coming in at number 2. You get 1 and 2 for Offensive Rookie of the Year voting, but Jeanty as a star, I'll spoil it. He's a star dev. I think we're going to correct that this first offseason. Dak Prescott gets Quarterback of the Year. Jeanty as a rookie gets Running Back of the Year. CeeDee Lamb is Receiver of the Year. And in the first round of the playoffs, we get the 10-7 Minnesota Vikings, who are tricky. Top 5 offensively, top 10 defensively. Dallas Cowboys 1 seed. They definitely don't always lose on their first game. And look, we handle business. No memes to be had. Dallas in the first round. Tight one. 27-24 of the Minnesota Vikings in a game where Dak Prescott, he threw for a lot of yards, but did not put up a lot of points. He was a little bit better as a scrambler. Jeanty with a touchdown. CeeDee Lamb got his. Harris got his. Defensively, 1 sack from Parsons. No turnovers. Got to play better than that if we want to go on and win a Super Bowl. And you know what? I'm just saying, to get it over with. I just want to get a Super Bowl in the first 5 years, so we don't have to play any longer. Please. But we got a good matchup here in the NFC Championship game. We got the Philadelphia Eagles. So, if we win, it is what it is. If we lose, it's a great team to lose. I don't even want to sigh, all right? This will be the one time. Hey, look, we're in the Super Bowl. Beat the Eagles 34-31 in an epic destroying social media type matchup if that game ever happened. That would be the most, I wouldn't say that. I was about to say I would pay pretty much any price to go with that, but then again, I saw the price of the Eagles-Chiefs Super Bowl, and I was wimped out. Maybe if I was a more successful YouTube channel, I just would have said, screw it. Anyways, Dak Prescott played all right. Jeanty and Dak continue. I mean, you know, we're getting decent rushing numbers, even though the yards aren't crazy. We're getting touchdowns. Mozzie Smith and Micah Parsons with the sack. We had a pick from Deron Bland. And here in year 2, after an incredibly disappointing year 1, we didn't even go above 500. Dallas is back in the Super Bowl. For that, just the most important, Jeanty did get a dev trait increase. Running back of the year, offensive rookie of the year. Beautiful. And he is an 88 overall, playing like a 90 overall into the Super Bowl matchup against the Buffalo Bills. Actually, he's pretty nice because it's usually the Chiefs. And I think we have a real nice shot here at competing and defeating the Buffalo Bills. Looking at the roster, as far as, man, Harris didn't get anything. Like, my receivers that I think are getting dev traits don't get them. And then you just got Jake Ferguson over here, who keeps popping dev traits left, right, and center. We got Jeanty up to a superstar, Ferguson up to an X Factor. On the defense side, I think Overshone should go up, which he did, to a superstar from a star. Leo Fowl goes from normal up to a star. We unfortunately lost the superstar on Trevon Diggs, which I expected to happen last year. But we have Carson, who is a normal dev, up to a star dev trait. So generally, dev traits are overall net positive one-sidedly for the team, for the better, and that's good. Now, because this is a year 2 Super Bowl, I'm not going to hop in. We can win it. We win it. It's not our time. Very confident we will be back. So, opening drive, we have to settle for 3, send out Aubrey. And no matter how good I feel about our roster, you're not going to win kicking field goals against Josh Allen. Especially a Josh Allen that could drag a Bills team to a Super Bowl. But we're playing pretty well. 16-13, or 17-13. And we got another, look like a turnover. And we went for it on 4th down. Buffalo gets a score to end the first half. So it's a 4-point lead for the Dallas Cowboys going into the second half. Buffalo scores on the opening drive to go up 27-24. We get points, go up 31-27. But defensively, man, our defense is not showing up today. Giving up 34-plus points. We get the touchdown there, 38. But I don't think we're going to be able to rely on our defense to get a stop. Ooh. Okay. 2 minutes to go. Can Dak play clutch? Or... oh, I think he did. He did. 57 seconds. Can the defense get a stop? Oh, my God. Are we going to do it? Oh, wow. Wow. I mean, yeah. Pathetic performance from our defense. Giving up almost 50 points. We had the number 4 defense. Number 1 rush defense. Number 5 pass defense in the league this year. And we give up 50 pretty much to the Buffalo Bills. All right, back to the drawing board. So look at our roster. How do we get this team over the hump? Well, I think Harris has established himself as a wide receiver too, but we probably need another wide receiver. The right-hand side of the offensive line needs a little TLC, especially, I would say especially at right guard. But Cornelius is a 77. So maybe we just ignore the fact that he doesn't have a dev trait. And like, that is 77 going into your second year is pretty damn good. So I definitely think we need a right tackle. Not only just an upgrade, but Steele's contract's probably one of the uglier ones on the roster. So right tackle and wide receiver 3, who got to play on the outside because obviously we have CD Lamb in the slot. Defensively, we let Damone Clark walk. He was a starter for us. Now, Overstone and Leofau can probably just be our primary nickel linebackers to play a lot. Bell is like kind of a linebacker hybrid anyways, but we do need another linebacker to kind of shore things up. Free safety is a big need. Malik Hooker is regressing into the dirt. So I'd say that is probably the big area. I want a right tackle and a free safety, and then see if we can get a linebacker and wide receiver. And of course, did not get a single role for a position that we need. Like Izini is probably the best as far as dev trait and higher ceiling is concerned. At that, I mean, Gilman's not brutal, but 28, like he's playing his best football now. I'd like to maybe get pick of the litter at free safety in the draft. So again, I think we'll just keep our money here and hopefully have a killer draft. So right now, as we're kind of setting our focus scoutings here, obvious one at linebacker and Steve Lentz, 3 A's and a B. Safety looks pretty weak. Kane Rogers, we have B zone coverage, just kind of like my parameters for finding a player. Our top pick's probably going to be one of those 2 guys. Honestly, at this point, Rogers, unless the scouting's bad, will probably be our first pick, and then Look at that linebacker in the second round. So we'll see. Off my focus scouting, I got Bryson Wheeler. I just scouted like a center. He's 6'5", so he could technically, play not center. And he had A in run blocking. That was the only thing that kind of made me want to scout him. And there's value there. First, second round talent, so something we could consider in the second round. At linebacker, Lentz. Again, sometimes it doesn't make it hard. Sometimes it was pretty obvious. Oh, the guy with 3 A's is a first round talent? Shocking. That is an outstanding role. Top 100 player. And then at safety, didn't get what we really wanted there. And Kane Rogers, not a value pick, which kind of sucks. So now we might have to blind pick somewhere else at safety. So as we start the draft at pick 31, I think my only logic right now would be to say screw it and just go at the top safety, because usually I don't think I've ever seen a bust at the top safety spot, but there's just an element of like, this guy, I don't know. Doesn't look bad, doesn't look great. Do we just say screw it and follow our board? Get someone here in Bryson Wheeler, who again, I could see him being, I think that's what we got to do, man. We still got Malik Hooker. We don't need a successor right away. Someone like Wheeler at 6'5", 320, I think could play at a guard spot. He could, my plan is put him at guard, move Tyler Smith to right tackle. Let's see if we can get that depth trait roll. He's number 23 in true value. Get him at 31. And that's likely going to be our new starting left guard. And he's left-handed for whatever that's worth. Up next in the second round. I was kind of hoping the safety would still be there. But with that, we're going to be able to get Lentz at linebacker. I'm not going to lie, my board is kind of shot after this pick. But number 12 in true value. Yep, pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty much how I felt. The board was shot after those picks, but those picks that we really liked, it was worth it. 75 hidden dev on Lentz, 74 hidden dev on Wheeler. Well, I'm going to go in right away, and we'll see if that rating bumps up any when we move him to guard. Could. Sometimes it does. Not always. Not an automatic. It does. So it goes up +1. Happy with those picks. The big change from year 2 to year 3 is the new look on the offensive line, and we're going to have, I think it's the right change. The only way that this is going to be annoying is you added some zeros to the new contract when it comes time to pay Tyler Smith for moving him from guard to right tackle, but I think it gives us more balance there. We weren't able to add that third wide receiver, so we might have to rely on the fact that Schoonmaker, 73, star dev tight end, might have to step up a little bit as like that backup versatile, or hey, maybe we use Jeanty a little bit more in the receiving game. It's certainly within his skill set. Defensively, we're looking great. Lentz starts at linebacker with Overshown and Lufau. D-line looks great. Secondary still looks strong. Do need to keep chasing that free safety Malik Hooker successor. But with how close we were to the Super Bowl last year, I think our team's good enough to get right back. Going out of our bye, we are 9-3, sitting atop the NFC East with a 3-game lead over the Commanders. Offensively, we look pretty good. Defensively, very inconsistent. We were great defensively last year. This year, more of a work in progress. However, like Overshown's up there in tackles. And I think like a week ago, Micah Parsons was up there with sacks. So he's at like double-digit sacks. So we're still getting some decent production, but overall, I definitely want that defense to shore things up. Look at the salary cap situation. We have $39 million. And, it was eventually going to come to a point in time where we weren't going to be able to keep everybody. And it's looking pretty tight. I think Mozzie Smith is replaceable. Overshown and Tyler Smith both are awesome. But you got to pay the tackle in this situation. 4 years for Tyler Smith. Honestly, Overshown might be able to still get that one over the line. I don't know if this is going to be the best use of our salary cap, but you know what? Free agency, and usually, and this is something that we've seen and noticed as a trend throughout our rebuilds, free agency does not hit. Just not in a great spot. I don't want to necessarily say it's not in a great spot, but for a short form rebuild where you'd want like those splash free agency signings to inject life because you have a cap for as far you're going to want to go, there's not a lot of impact playmakers to be had in free agency, so I always, push come to shove, would rather retain my own talent than hope and pray that we get a good role on the open market come free agency, because that is few and far between when that actually happens. So we close with the season 12-5, equaling our record last year. 12-5 last year got us the 1 seed. However, this year, Green Bay had a tiebreaker with a same 12-5. Detroit was also 12-5. So it is what it is, and our defense improved slightly. Passing yard defense was somewhat respectable. Offensively, is really where we got the job done this season. Good news from our draft class. We drafted a center that we moved to guard, and he ended up being a superstar dev here in Bryson Wheeler. That is awesome out of Oklahoma. Everything you could ever wish for in an offensive lineman, hidden dev rookie, because they just, unless you win lineman of the year, they just do not go up dev trait. And then we had Lentz, the other big player from that class. He is up to an 81 star at the end of his season. He was kind of always going to be the insurance in case we couldn't have come to a contract extension with Overshone. But luckily, we're just coming, and we're only going to have to replace Mozzie Smith, who is very much replaceable and unfortunately not a great first-round pick from the Cowboys. Look at the stats. Dak is maybe starting to show some signs of aging. Happens to everyone, even the mighty Dallas Cowboys in the sim. As those, I mean, the touchdowns are down from where they've been the last couple of years. Jeanty, well, you know, that's another thing, right? As Dak starts to slow down, that's when Jeanty needs to step up and speed up. 1,400 yards and 20 touchdowns. Hard to find a better running back in the league. We got 12-9 for Lamb, 11-10 for Trey Harris. Hopefully, this is like what? How many years in a row has he gone over 1,000? 2 years? Has he got it every year? Still normal dev. So let's be honest, that should be a dev trade increase, at least star. That is a star dev player if I've ever seen it. 380 and 4 for Jeanty, 8 and 8, 8 and 4. We definitely need a third wide receiver. The linebacker core, Overshone, 134 tackles. We had over 100 for Lentz. On the sacks front, 17 TFLs, 18 sacks from Micah Parsons. However, not getting anything out of our pass rush outside of that. And we got talent, so that is very disappointing. Diggs leads the team with 4 picks, 3 for Bland, 2 from Overshone, who had 5 last year. I mean, interceptions can be quite volatile, but you wish you could get a little more consistency there. Jeanty wins Offensive Player of the Year. Micah Parsons with Defensive Player of the Year. In the first round of the playoffs, we get the New Orleans Saints, who have the 3rd best offense in the league, which is kind of surprising, all things considered. They got some guys there. Oh, wow. One and done. 26-28, we lose to the Saints. And you throw that in with the fact that I'm a little worried that Dak Prescott's peaked here. We're beginning to peak and began that descension, decline, whatever you want to say, into mediocrity. I think that's kind of where, but look, Jeanty is taking over the lead role here. I mean, CeeDee Lamb can still get his. Defensively, though, man, our defense was just not good enough for us to realistically think we had a chance to go on a run and win a Super Bowl here. Shout out to the Baltimore Ravens for winning the Super Bowl here in 2026. But the real good news is that, well, Dak Prescott's no longer an X factor. Jeanty is. So the face of the rebuild, who, let's be honest, star dev trait as a rookie was a little bit on the lower side, a little bit disappointing. But he has found a way to overcome all of that. And I imagine by the end of next season, will be a perfect 99 overall. Look at the rest of the offense. Still, Trey Harris, back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, has not got him a dev trade increase. That is incredibly harsh. On the defensive side of the ball, dev traits, and nothing up or down. What we did actually do is we were 4 deep at corner, so I took Scott, who was a 80 corner, and moved him to that free safety spot just in case we can't find someone in the draft. Gives us a little bit of a, we keep word of the day right now. Word of this year is insurance policy. Scott can always move back to corner, but in case we can't find a great safety, he could probably develop there. And we are going to go into this offseason needing a replacement for Mozzie Smith at D-line. And I do love it when I have to go into a draft looking to draft D tackles, because there's usually a couple good ones that we can end up finding. Offensively, definitely want to look for a wide receiver. And honestly, quarterback, a successor for Dak Prescott, at least having one on the roster. Highly unlikely there will be one, but sometimes you can find a stud quarterback that's projected to go first, second round that might slip into the second round. That could be a situation that we need to explore. But I'm thinking wide receiver 3 and D tackle 2. That is what we need to get. And I think that if we get studs like we did last year, where we just drafted a superstar, we get similar draft haul, I think we'll be more legitimate Super Bowl contenders going into year 4. We have no money to spend, but just a window shop at D-tackle being the top need that we want. Mozzie Smith arguably is the second most desirable D-tackle, and we're letting him walk. So I think we're just going to put all of our focus efforts into finding the stud of all studs at D-tackle in the upcoming draft. And I'm not going to pay a wide receiver 3. All right, so we're going to end up focus scouting here, just taking a shot in the dark at some of the top defensive tackles just to make sure we're making the right call. There are a couple defensive ends that could slide in to a D-tackle spot. Christian Morse looks like he could be solid. Doesn't look like a great wide receiver class. I do have some scouting in this department. It looks like Dakota Cobb probably would be the best. He's a burner with a deep route running. But I'll be honest, all in all, you want to see, that first round, late round guy that exists, generates somewhat consistently, I would say, in a generated draft class. Not necessarily the case this year. So if we do want a good wide receiver, we might have to draft one early. Let's go. We'll go Morse as our final one. We'll do the extra scouting on the D-line. Let's see the true talent that we have unlocked. Church at wide receiver. We got Cobb, first rounder. Odin at D-tackle is a first round talent. Spencer is, in line with where he's expected to go. But all these guys are going to be in a range. Look at the rank. Generally speaking, the rank is kind of where you could view the area code that they're going to get drafted in. And they all should be available for a playoff team like yourselves. We just got to make sure we make the right call. Actually, I do think at the end of the day, D-tackle is where we need to go because we're looking for a wide receiver 3, who in reality with Jeanty and with Ferguson at tight end, it's really like our 4th or 5th receiving option. We need a day 1 starter at defensive line. So Morse is a legit first round talent at D-tackle, and we might be able to get him in the 2nd round. There's a hypothetical there. There's honestly a chance that the wide receivers look dog crap. I still try to get him, and we'll double up at D-tackle. We got Spencer. Odin's the guy. He's the pick. He's a first round talent at D-tackle, A-tackle. Doesn't look crazy, though. I'm glad we did our scouting here because there's not a whole lot about him. Decent combine. The fact that he does have top 5, top 3 even in the 40-yard dash, 3-cone drill, and his bench press ain't too bad. Really just want to see a dev trait here because I could see him being a guy ends up being like a 75 normal, which is not the best. 19th in true value, get him at 24, and we get the dev trait roll. Let's go. All right, into the 2nd round. No idea what the board's going to look like. Have a feeling it could be rough. Let's just see at the other. Oh, he's gone. Damn. Well, I'm glad we got our D-tackle when we needed it. Let's see from the wide receivers that we scouted. Is there still value? There's not really much. I think the value pick, we got Jackson here at a Clemson. There is technically some value there. He's projected to be a 2nd rounder. But, can we probably wait? Let's see. A, catching traffic. Everything else is just ugly. He has elite change of direction. There's a chance there's a dev trait there, I guess. We got nothing else on our board. Maybe trust our scouting here a little bit, but I'm not expecting to be great. 67 the true value at 56. Could have been worse. But always annoying when you come out of the first round and then your board is shot. So yeah, terrible draft class, all things considered. Not anything going our way. But Keegan Jackson, 72 overall. And Odin, the one player that we needed to be good. The one player we needed to for sure step in and be a day 1 starter. Looks the part. Out of South Florida, 75 scheme fit. A little bit undersized for a run stuffer, 305. Usually you don't tend to see that. You see the guys that are 320 plus. It looks pretty good. There's a nice Mozzie Smith successor. Like I say, overall, felt like this was not a strong draft class. And honestly, think we're there's value there. 3rd round pick. Anytime you get a 3rd round pick that's 77, hidden dev, you feel pretty good about that. Congrats to the Cleveland Browns. And there was an 80-plus player. Not too often you see the highest-rated player in a class be a linebacker. But I did feel overall this was a slightly underwhelming class. That's a hell of a player there for the Miami Dolphins. So we're here mid-season, and Joe Odin, our first round pick, has 6 skill points. I was like, how did this happen? Oh, he got 5 sacks last week and almost 20,000 XP. Disgusting. Also helps, he's a superstar dev trait as well. What a pick. Back-to-back years, our top guy having a great dev trait and not a bad dev trait. Overall, the midway point, we are 4-3. You look at our rankings, offensively pretty good. Defensively, not as bad as where we were last season, so I'm cautiously optimistic. 31-13 coming off a win over the Saints, where Micah Parsons with a hat trick of sacks gets him player of the week. But from here on out, this is never going to be a great time. We got to look at players that we want to re-sign because our salary cap is brutal. And we are in the red with... okay, let's see. Hopefully not. Technically, including the kicker, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 starters. Maybe once the offseason starts, we have a chance. We might be able to bring back 1 or 2. Maybe. But no better time than now to win a Super Bowl, because our roster is likely going to take a significant step back from this year, year 4, into next year, year 5. And then a year, pretty much a repeat of last season. 12-5, that's not a bad floor, if that's our floor right now. We have won 3 straight NFC East titles, which is very difficult to do. And, I mean, you look at it, rush yards are not great. Very inconsistent. Like, Jeanty was going nuclear last year. And then this year, I mean, he still goes over 1,000, which is good. But a little bit inconsistent. But look, yeah, and then Dak Prescott's back up a little bit with the yards. So, I mean, the yards are there. How we're getting them has varied between Dak Prescott through the air or Jeanty on the ground. 47 yards, 37 touchdowns for Dak. 12-17, still an outstanding season from Ashton Jeanty. 16-16 from CD Lamb. I mean, we're surviving. I mean, like, Flournoy, he's like a 72, and he's still putting up numbers that if we had a 90 as a wide receiver 3 getting that, we'd be like, that's pretty good. So, I mean, maybe we're making a mountain out of a molehill trying to get that 3rd wide receiver and chasing after that. Overshot 128 tackles, 3 picks. Micah Parsons, good Lord. 84 tackles, 10 TFLs, 22.5 sacks. Very close to owning the single-season sack record. And I hope this is kind of just the beginning. 11.5 for Joe Oden, the rookie superstar. 6.5 Nealon, 5.5 for Odigizua. Interception numbers, not the best, not the worst. Probably fair to say that the interception numbers have been down since Dan Quinn has left the team. Micah Parsons ran away with Defensive Player of the Year as expected. Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Joe Oden. Running Back of the Year goes to Jeanty. CD Lamb gets Wide Receiver of the Year. Micah Parsons with D Lineman of the Year. And one thing you could say undeniably is the amount of award winners that we have got here with the Cowboys is insanely better than any other. Like, you could take the second place. If you went back and calculated every award winner we've had and just say the realistic rebuilds that we've done. We want 5, 6 realistic rebuilds. We're probably already like 2 to 3 times more than the second closest, and we got, potentially another 6 seasons left. And we start the first round of the playoffs rivalry game at home against the 10-7 New York Giants, who have a top 10 passing offense, and the defense is pretty damn good. Top 5. They have the best rushing, so they're going to try their best to shut down Jeanty. Good luck. And yeah, we showed this year that we could throw the football again. And we get the dub. 38-27, wasn't particularly close. And we let them get points, 13 in garbage time. They got Quinn Ewers there. Hey, we already did that video. Dak Prescott, pretty good. Jeanty, outstanding. 157 yards, 2 receiving touchdowns. We got here, CD Lamb's really the only guys probably not too stoked with their performance. 2.5 sacks from Micah Parsons, continuing to be an absolute animal. So at least with our place, we don't have to play the 1-seed Vikings. We have the 4-seed 49ers, who are, offensively not good at all. We have 1 good ranking. Everything else is like 25 plus on the offense. Just in case something weird happened, let's upgrade our players. Make sure we put our best lineup out there, but I feel fairly confident. Now we have 99 overall for Jeanty. Coming off 157 yards, 2 touchdowns. Let's run all over the 49ers and get back to the NFC Championship. We did, and look who we're playing. Last time we went to a Super Bowl, we had to get through the Eagles, and it looks like more of the same. But we handled business against the Niners 28-12. Our defense was outstanding. Dak, not so much. 2 touchdowns, but he did throw 2 interceptions. Jeanty with 85 yards. CD Lamb led the receivers. Our defense stepped up, though. Sack and a half Oden, sack and a half Parsons, sack for Odigizua. Again, need to stress that this is, I don't want to say that a window is closing, but you saw the talent. And there's no miracle drug for our salary cap. It is what it is. I'll be cautiously optimistic that maybe we'll get a nice little bump up. Salary cap will rise, and we can maybe bring back 2 of the 6 starters that are set to leave. But we're not going to bring back all of them. Look at our roster. 93 overall with a 95 offense, 91 defense. This is our time to put it all together and get that check mark, get that Super Bowl under our belt. I mean, while we're here looking at what the Eagles are rocking with, top 10 offense. They run the football well. Top 10 defense, borderline top 5 defense, great at stopping the pass. So, like, if you're looking at it honestly, bad matchup. They are good at what we are bad at. We are bad at what they are good at. But you saw the rosters. You see the ratings. If we play 10 times, we should win 7 of them, honestly. But Philly's also, I mean, they're almost a 90 overall offense. For a CPU team, 4 years in, that is a hell of a roster. Great job, Howie Roseman. And we barely win. We are back into the Super Bowl. Our second appearance, 2017. It's going to be an all-Texas matchup in the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts, 2 interceptions, costing the Eagles. Dak protected the football. You know, we let CeeDee Lamb get on the board. But honestly, tail to tail, we got 2 picks. Leo Fowl and Deron Bland. That is the difference maker in a low-scoring, field goal deciding matchup. And look at that Super Bowl. Houston against Dallas. And just before the matchup, because we didn't get to see under the hood when we officially earned the 99 on the face of the rebuild, Jeanty. And we're just going to, keep pounding these points into receiving back. I mean, incredible talent, man. If you are not big into college football, at least search up YouTube and get some Ashton Jeanty highlights. It's the only way to describe it, watching him play, is it's literally you're playing college football 25 or you're playing Madden on rookie difficulty with a 99 running back. That's literally what it looks like. He's putting up video game numbers, and he's done really, really well here. Cowboys haven't seen a running back this well since. He's almost like transformed the offense. Because with Dowdle and Zeke, we were not getting 1,000-yard rushing, which it's capable. Old school Dallas, especially in the old school Sims, where Zeke was literally a cheat code. We've single-handedly transformed how this team performs in the sim by bringing in a running back of this caliber. So, quick scouting report of the Texans, 88 overall across the board, so they're a talented roster, 13-4. They're the 1 seed from the NFC. They have the number 2 offense, 5th in passing, 2nd in rushing. Their defense is legit as well. Almost a top 10 overall with the number 2 passing defense, number 5 rushing defense. This is going to be very, very difficult, but now we're farther enough along in this rebuild. Unlike when it was year 2 against the Bills in the Super Bowl, didn't really hop in. This one here, we are going to have our 3 chances to hop in on the sticks and try and get this one over the line. CJ Stroud, Dakota Rain Prescott. Well, that's the Jeanty show right there. He's dusted himself off. He knows he's going to have a big-time performance. Opening drive, touchdown, Cowboys. Houston able to equalize right away. And I will say, if we get to a 3rd down, especially in the red zone, might need to come help him out, but we got 14-7. We missed the field goal. Opening drive, Houston to start the second half, scores some points. Dallas has not scored a point in a very long time. We get a touchdown. There we go. 2 minutes to go. Can our defense get a stop? They're going for it on 4th down. They don't get it. Put it away. We'll come right now just to get a little sample size. But we are going to be shoot. We gotta give this. I don't know. Could just give it to Jeanty, but I almost want to just maybe get to him out of the backfield. But it's looking like a year 4 Super Bowl, so we are going to be able to finish this rebuild within 5 years, which is massive relief. Let's send him like on a streak, because we are not going to have the way that our roster is constructed. If this rebuild was going to go in like say year 6, year 7, year 8. No, come on, Dak. If it was going into there, I have no idea how this would go. We'd have to make tough decisions. Honestly, we'd probably have to have another mini rebuild and get rid of Dak's contract and then figure it out. Luckily, we do not have to worry about that. Thank you very much, Dallas. We are obviously still going to go 1 more year because these rebuilds, the realistic rebuilds, are at minimum 5 year, at maximum 10 year to become a Super Bowl champion. So we're going to have another opportunity with a roster that is definitely going to take a step back in terms of talent because of our salary cap situation, but we are going to have an opportunity. We're still going to have our key studs to try to run this one back and win another Super Bowl. But let's be honest, this is as predictable. There's no way you clicked on, knowing how franchise works in Madden the last couple of years, let alone Madden 25, that I wasn't going to win a Super Bowl with the Cowboys. They are, along with the Chiefs, the cheatiest of the cheat codes. And honestly, I'm honestly surprised it took us year 4. But looking at Dak, I mean, you're probably giving him the MVP in this one. 267 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 46 yards and a touchdown for Jeanty. Buck, I mean, that's also really, really good from CeeDee Lamb. 7 catches, 106 yards, 3. I'd probably give it to Lamb. Honestly, when the wide receiver plays that well, we get a half sack at Digizua and Parsons. 2 picks on the day. Hearns, who's like an absolute role player, like corner 4 or 5. And then Marquise Bell, the starter at safety. That is outstanding. Give me my check mark. And let's run things back here for year 5. All right, so we do get a little bit of salary cap. We go from in the red to positive 13 mil. Picked up the 50 hours for Jeanty, even though it doesn't really matter. Looking at who we need to re-sign. So Carson is a starter, but there's no interest there, and we're not in a position to overpay. Plus corners, you feel a little more optimistic about getting a replacement there. Liu Fao he'd be a good one to keep, but at the end of the day, we have 2 linebackers that could start, and then we'd just be a little bit weak at that 3rd spot. Digizua, 15 mil for 1 year, and you've got trumped in every single measurable category from our 1st-round pick, who's now a superstar, who now can become our clear-cut D-tackle 1. And I think it comes down between Nealon and Beebe, and ultimately, a center is just the weakest, least valuable spot on the offensive line. Nealon is a starter, even though the production hasn't been great. Never mind. Can't afford. Take that back. Actually, he's overrated, and we don't need him. We're going to keep Cooper. The interest was there. We gave him the contract he wanted, and he still said, F you? Really? So we can get Liu Fao. And we can't get Carey. All right, well, we got one. All right, so looking at our board going into the draft, this is usually year 5 draft, especially if you're only going 5 years. Not that impactful. For us, couldn't be more further than the truth. We need starters. We need a wide receiver. That's where we had our focus scouting. Unfortunately, we're going to have to make some tough decisions because wide receiver is not near the top of our list, even though we got Devontae Jackson, who looks pretty good. We have a lot of guys scouted. 1st-round talent there. But look, we got Cameron Harrison, UDFA, as a 1st-rounder. We got Cush as a UDFA, as a 2nd-rounder. So we got some value there. Now, look at this guy. 6'6" UDFA. Horrific stats. Who would draft? What? How does that equal that? You literally could not give him worse ratings. He's just 6'6" and fast with a great combine. But you know what? There you go. That right there within itself just goes to show you how much combine matters. And combine athletes will trump anything. We need a center. And there's actually, all 3 of these top centers all look draftable. So we will see. Ideally, we could get Covington or Sands maybe a little bit later. But we do need a new starting center. We also need a starting defensive tackle. Didn't get a great role on the D ends that can be D tackles. Just sometimes that gives you other options. I didn't really bother scouting the D tackles, and I do think maybe we just get the safe nose tackle pick here in Colin Heron at 350 pounds. We'll see how the board falls. And we need a corner, and that's kind of where I want to scout. And we got 2 top 5 talents in 2 obvious selections. We had Josh Bird, who had A-zone, B-press. That's all I saw. Didn't see this man. I thought the man might be higher. But for a top 5 talent, he has elite acceleration, agility, great speed. Looks pretty good. Probably would have to trade up. Not a lot. He's 28th. We also have, if we don't want to trade up, Jermichael Jackson. A-man, B-press, B-zone, 6'3". Not as good an athlete as Bird. So I might be a little more afraid of Jermichael Jackson being like a 76, 77 normal. Enough to warrant the top 5 talent, but there's not the athletic traits that would give you a good feeling that there would be a dev trait, unlike, say, Josh Bird. So let's see. Where's Bird going? He would be the guy that I would like. Let's just go to the opposite end of the draft. So we're picking at 32. Bird is projected. I mean, honestly, we'd have to trade up for both of them. Jackson's going 30. Bird is going 18th. Now, here's the advantage of where we're at. We aren't going beyond year 5. So those extra future picks, they don't exist to us. So I think we might be aggressive here and giving the Jags an offer. They can't refuse. Honestly, just as easy. I'll give you pick 32 and our first round pick next year for pick 18. Firm handshakes. Got this one done. All right, let's go. Pick 18, Bird looks to be still on the board. We're not going to get finesse, which sometimes can happen. And let's go. Welcome to Dallas. Number 1 player in the draft. Yep, thank you very much. So we're going to wait on a wide receiver because we obviously our value is at the UDFA range. We need a D tackle and a nose tackle. For the D tackle, Colin Huron, the nose is still here. Not great combine, but he has the S tier bench press that you really want to look for. We also need a starting center. And Sands is really the last draftable one. Let's go center. We'll go center, and hopefully the D tackle stealer. 73rd in true value, get him at 64. 91 strength center with a hidden dev. Come on, in a perfect world. Give me the perfect roll. Have the nose tackler on still there. Ah, he's gone. All right, we're going to have to dig through the scraps, I think, at D tackle a little bit later on. Because we have our homework done at wide receiver. Honestly, I feel like we can get both these guys. First, we'll get Cameron Harrison. I want to see what this looks like. How is a player... I'll be the first to admit key ratings don't matter. But that is terrible. How are you first, second round talent? What do you look like? Number 50 at 96. He's just a freak athlete. That's all it is. Now, look at the D tackles. This might be an all right player. Again, it's just absolute blind picking. I only have him 65% scouted, but that's a safe floor for key ratings. Sees across the board with B tackle. At his combine, he has elite strength, decent athlete, not great, but he's the only D tackle that has an elite in any category. So, not a bad pick. 88th at 128, 94 strength. And really, we're going to clean out our board with our last kind of good scouted player, Colin Cush out of Boise State. Let's keep that Boise State pipeline. He has A catching, which definitely stands out for sure. He also has elite acceleration. This could be a hidden dev trait player. Number 53 in true value. Get him at 1. No dev, but I think the rating will be solid. All right, and for our Mr. Irrelevant, we need a punter. And I'm looking at Joel Gilmore. B on the accuracy, A awareness with elite kick power. I don't even get to look at it, but I bet there's a chance he has a dev trait. I would say generational. As obviously the pick was so good, it crashed my draft. Sick. All right, we're able to at least not glitch the franchise. We pick up right after the draft recap and look at the draft that we had. Oh my God. Gilmore, the punter, 76 hidden dev. Rich Kid Richer. I actually thought the kicker would be a little bit better too. 68 normal. Cush 73 normal. Leach 71 normal. Blind pick. Harrison at wide receiver. How is a wide receiver that had Fs 73? 73 catching, 72 catch of traffic. His no route, most of his route running is under a 70. He has spec. There's not. This is a rare build. This is like when you see a chick that's built like Mewtwo. It's a rare build. But god damn it, we love it. 73 normal. Sands, 72 with a dev trade, but look at Bird. Number 1 true talent player. We are aggressive. Traded up to go get him. 80 hidden dev. Pretty much like the same rating, same caliber player that Kalen Carson was, the guy that we lost to free agency. And Bird's going to be, I'm imagining, that dev trade's going to be better than a star. And he could be probably 84, 85 come time to go and try to repeat as Super Bowl champions. S-tier draft. Probably our best of the rebuild. Let's go. So I'm so glad we got that Super Bowl over the line because Dak has regressed hard. He was an X factor not that long ago. And as you can see in the offseason, even though we got the Super Bowl win and Super Bowl MVP and his dev trait went up to an X factor, we still face 35 points of regression and he lost 3 dev traits. I'm I'm not going to feel bad for any Dallas Cowboy, but that may be the harshest situation I've ever seen. And I get, yeah, he's 35, and obviously that's a benchmark age for regression, but I've never seen a guy win Super Bowl MVP, get X Factor depth trait, and then just simulating 1 week later, loses that much. I think we lost 4 overall points and 3 depth traits. Imagine how I'd feel if we didn't win the Super Bowl last year. Imagine how I'd feel if we lost the Super Bowl again. 2 losses, 2 L Super Bowls, and now our quarterback is super expensive and pretty much useless. Look at the rest of the team. The offensive line is outstanding. We bring in Sands from the rookie class. That is the best offensive line in football. Between Ferguson, Harris, who just never goes up depth chart, but he's still an 85. We're actually going to go with that 6'6 freak at wide receiver as well. We got CeeDee Lamb, who's a perfect 99. And the man of the hour, the man of the rebuild, Jeanty, is going to have to step up because I don't know if we're going to be able to rely on Dak Prescott to carry this team the way he has. More often than not, we're going to need probably Jeanty to play like a top 5 running back in the league for us to keep our offensive production where we need it. Defensively, we got everything but a pass rusher, which is valuable, but I think as we saw last year with the sim numbers, Parsons and Odin can get us our sacks. They're both double-digit sack type players. Parson is almost a record-breaking pass rusher, but definitely not the strength that it was even a couple years ago. Lentz, Liofau is going to kind of use him as like a little bit of a hybrid pass rusher. And obviously, we're led by Overshown, the 89 X Factor. We got Bell and Scott at safety. Diggs back up to a superstar dev, Deron Bland. And the number 1 pound-for-pound player from last year's draft class rounds up what is probably the best secondary in the NFL. Top 5 linebacking core. We have maybe the best young pass-rushing D-tackle. The best pass rusher. And again, offensively, if you're going to say something positive about Dak and say the sim numbers have been great and he brings experience and now a Super Bowl winning pedigree, I think it could be made with the best team in the league again. As we look to run it back here in our 5th and final year, making a little bit of a dynasty with 2 straight Super Bowls. At the end of year 5, we, again, expectations as soon as we saw that severe regression of Dak Prescott were adjusted. We go 11-6, great offense. Defense, not so much. We're 2nd in the East, so we end our streak of winning the title at 3 years. But at least we got a ticket in the playoffs and a chance to defend our Super Bowl title. What are the stats? Ashton Jeanty is the number 1 running back. Yards and touchdowns. What a freaking season. Looking like peak Zeke. And Dak played well. 40 touchdowns, 4,500 yards. Entering year 12, I guess he didn't get the memo that he was regressing. But JT, 15, almost 1,600 yards, 20 touchdowns. Throw another 507. So we are at over 2,000 yards and 27 touchdowns. Give him the MVP, you cowards. CeeDee Lamb with another great season. 104 catches, 1,400 yards, 17 touchdowns. Defensively, Overshown continues to be a monster. Look at that. New sack record. Micah Parsons, 80 tackles, 16 TFLs, 25 sacks. We got 12 from Odin. Interception numbers, 4 for Bland, 4 for Diggs. Very, very happy with all of that success all around, and that is ridiculous. Did he even... Dak makes it over Gene? So it's just really, at least I'm glad Madden keeps it up with it, gets a quarterback award. As Jeanty wins Offensive Player of the Year, Micah Parsons Defensive Player of the Year, Cam Harrison, our 6'6", F-catching wide receiver, wins Offensive Rookie of the freaking year. Jeanty running back of the year. CeeDee Lamb actually loses to Justin Jefferson for the top wide receiver. D lineman goes to Micah Parsons, and that is a lot. Again, every single year, win, lose, or draw for the Cowboys, we're getting guys who are getting their awards. Look at the career stats because this is the final season in this Dallas Cowboy rebuild. Dak Prescott finishes. We got 53,000 yards passing, 405 touchdowns to only 120 interceptions, and he has a Super Bowl and MVP. Super Bowl MVP, that is, to go with that. So that's just Hall of Fame numbers. In 4 seasons. 4 seasons. Ashton Jeanty, we'll round that up, 5,500 yards, 73 touchdowns. I mean, Dak also has some pretty good scrambling numbers as well, but GT also on a Hall of Fame, first ballot Hall of Fame pace. We are through 4. So you would assume he would probably play 10 And if you're like just doubling that, he's going to be 12, 13, 14, 15. Like, I'd say his career on this trajectory, like 1,500 yards, maybe even like close to 200 touchdowns, especially if you throw in the receiving into the mix, which he seems to be, stepping up. Harris was solid. Jake Ferguson was solid. CeeDee Lamb, more than solid. Over 800 catches, 12,000 yards, and 112 touchdowns. And I mean, you still got to figure he probably has, another 5 years in him. So there are just Hall of Fame, first ballot Hall of Fame talents all over the board. Overshown finishes the rebuild as an X Factor. He started as a 74 normal. X Factor, led the team in tackles, had 17 TFLs, 12 interceptions in his career. Micah Parsons, record breaker with 500 tackles, 120 TFLs, 141 sacks. And again, another guy. He probably has another 4, 5, 6 years left of his prime, let alone if he wants to play into year 14, 15, 16. Another first ballot Hall of Famer. Trevon Diggs with 31 picks, 27 for Deron Bay, and other players that, honestly, could end up being Hall of Famers, at least in the eyes of Madden. In real life, obviously, again, we know Dallas isn't as good as they are in Madden in real life. That's not necessarily a shot. That's not necessarily a Philadelphia Eagle fan just kind of hating the Cowboys for hating the Cowboys. They are unrealistically a juggernaut in Madden, where in real life, at best, they're like a solid to good team. And I'm saying that as an Eagle fan who has to also admit, with the way Jalen Hurts has played over the last 15 games, Philly's also a solid to good team at best right now. But let's see if we can go in here and defend our Super Bowl crown. Looking at Atlanta in the first round, they are not anything special. Those ratings are not that great. We have Super Bowl pedigree now. We have experience. I'm expecting us to go on a little bit of a run here. And we handle the Atlanta Falcons. We're going to Player of the Week performance. CeeDee Lamb, 7 catches, 156 yards, 3 touchdowns, as he is unstoppable. And he has been this whole rebuild. Putting him in the slot. Again, he's a slot wide receiver. He is thriving. And we're able to get past Atlanta 35-17. Not even particularly close. Into the next round. I mean, we're the 5 seed. No team wants to play, especially in the NFC side of the bracket. We get the Commanders for a little divisional rivalry. And we've owned NFC East opponents into this rebuild. Looking at the Commanders. They can run the football well. They play very, very good defense. Very stingy defense. So I'll give them the ultimate sign of respect. And we'll quickly auto-upgrade some of our players here. A couple starters, center, and safety. And maybe that'll be the difference maker. Let's see. And I'll just say this, because we probably have a mix of everyone, and maybe more Cowboy fans, as we get another dub. Are we really buying the Commanders this year in real life? As a legitimate... I think they're going to get figured out. And maybe that's just me being biased. Jaden Daniels looks solid. Again, didn't hate the Jaden Daniels. I was Drake May over Jaden Daniels as far as a prospect. Still like Jaden Daniels. Still was very clear that, back in the day, Jaden Daniels, as a freshman for Arizona State, won me some money that I'll never forget when Arizona State was some dogs. Home dogs. I love betting money line on dogs. And I like beating Vegas. Jaden Daniels helped me out, so I've always kind of had a soft spot for him there. But unfortunately, not today. Overtime dub, and we kind of endure not a great performance from Dak Prescott. 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Jeanty did the job. Defensively, relied on our guys. Love how the sack and a half from Micah Parsons. And just like that, it is back-to-back NFC Championship games for the Dallas Cowboys. You get the 9-8 Green Bay Packers, who are not crazy. I mean, we are better than them in every category outside of passing yard defense. So, okay, we'll auto-upgrade our players here. We don't really have any starters. 3rd wide receiver. But make sure we're prepared, because we want to win another Super Bowl here with the Cowboys and get out of here with 2 in a row. And we are at least going to have an opportunity. 27-24. We knock off the Green Bay Packers, and we're in the Super Bowl. 3rd in 5 seasons, which it tracks. If you've ever played Madden 25 franchise mode, Dallas probably makes that consistently. It was I don't know if that was 2 overtimes, or Green Bay scored a field goal first, and then we got a touchdown and just didn't kick the extra point. I'm assuming that's what it would have been, with the 6 versus, we trade field goals and then we get the next field goal. Jordan Love played well. Dak Prescott, 375 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Jeanty, 78 and a touchdown. Harrison, 6. Still shocked that he's had the year that he's had. We get the pick from Overshone, 2 sacks from Micah Parsons, Leach and Odin from the D-line getting involved. And it all comes down for an opportunity at a second straight Super Bowl as the 11-6 Dallas Cowboys take on the 10-7 Baltimore Ravens. 2 90-plus teams. And again, can't stress enough, for a sim-built team, we're not control. It's almost like we're playing someone else that was rebuilding the Ravens. To have a 93 offense, 90 overall, is very difficult to do. They have a top 10 overall offense. They run the football well. They have the advantage on the defensive side of the ball. This is going to be a tough one. I think we can get this one over the line, though, and get that second Super Bowl and then never talk about this rebuild again. We got Lamar, who has a Super Bowl in this. They won the Super Bowl, I think it was year 3, against Dak, who won the Super Bowl year 4. But this is our 3rd Super Bowl appearance in 4 years. And I think there is certainly a level of experience and confidence that this game's not going to be too big. And I don't think we're going to underperform. As we get out to a 10-0 lead, Baltimore gets a touchdown and gets on the board late in the first half. And we're going to go in a low-scoring matchup. And they have the advantage defensively in a low-scoring game. Look at that, 2 straight touchdowns by Dallas in the third. We open up the fourth with Baltimore getting a score. They're going down the field to make it a 3-point game. Can we close this one out? And we have to punt it to them. We give Lamar Jackson 2 minutes to go and score a touchdown. Oh, I think we need to. I also don't think we need to. This is my Cowboys hater. Like, oh, if we lose, we lose. But I think we gotta at least try. Harrison has like no catching. We're right here to. There we go. Harris. Oh, okay. We got timeouts. 20 seconds. Need a touchdown. Dak's been clean. No turnovers. It really was. I mean, just generally the offense got cold here in the second half. Fourth quarter. Go Verts. 21 seconds to go. Really want to try to maybe get this to CeeDee Lamb. Or, because it's a rebuild, let's see if we can get Jeanty downfield, potentially. Oops, way too long. Can't expect the offensive line to hold up that long. Verts, second down. I mean, we got our timeout, so it's not the end of the world. CD in the slot. He does win, but there's a safety. Oh, look at the top. We got Harris. Okay, grab. Another timeout. Maybe could have not gone with the safe catch there. Honestly, I thought the DB would catch up and kind of bat that one down. So take what we can get. Lock it in. And we have no timeouts. This needs to be shots in the end zone. We got Ferguson. That's who we're going to want to look at. But they got Roquan Smith in coverage. Throw it short, and he drops it. Hell of a PBU there by Roquan. Not the guy you want to pick on. Let's go with post. That better be CD. Oh, it's not. We still might be able to get it to him, but we got Harris. Trey Harris. Got him. I mean, I'm not gonna gloat because it is the Dallas Cowboys. We got our beloved Eagles to represent them, even in this one. But very successful rebuild, as expected. Literally, I wanted to do something with Ashton Jeanty. Dallas makes the most sense. Even like draft experts are saying like, "Oh man, Jeanty to Dallas, that's gonna happen. Perfect match made in heaven." So we had to do it. It was the best landing spot, and you know what? There could have not been the success. Again, year one. We didn't go above 500. We didn't even make the playoffs. So there was still a chance, still a scenario that now that we're controlling Dallas, we weren't going to get the sim Dallas that we usually see when we're not doing a Cowboys rebuild because they're always S tier. Could have been like that, especially after year one. But luckily, the law of averages kind of settled in here, and Dallas went to 3 Super Bowls in 5 years, which tracks to the success they have in Madden franchise mode, and we're able to go down with a very successful double. 2 in a row Super Bowl finish here in our Madden 25 realistic rebuild of the Dallas Cowboys. So thank you guys very much for watching. As always, please let me know in the comment section below which rebuild and which college player, which match you would like to see down below in our next Madden 25 realistic rebuild. If it is your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button, as we're getting very close to 175,000 subscribers on the channel. We'd be cool to hit that milestone before too long. All I ask for in return, if you enjoyed the video and you enjoyed my content, hit the like button. leave a little comment. Helps the channel, helps the videos with the YouTube algorithm, and pushes my stuff out to people who might not know what's going on here. They've just been sleeping on the rock and don't know C4's making videos for 10 freaking years here on YouTube. But that'll do it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time, it's your boy C4. Say peace out, love ya. Have a good one.